Hello everyone, it's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. So Lordstown is not doing well. You can see their stock price here over the past year topped out around 2. Now 5 years ago, let's see, it was hanging around $30 a share back in 2020 and 2021, where it kind of first underwent its IPO. But then it steadily dropped until like it was in the mid 250, 260 around August of 2022, and then it's been a steady decline, and it's at 40 cents a share at this point. And today, Bloomberg reported that Foxconn is basically backing out of the deal, or is threatening to back out of the deal. And remember, this is how it went. Lordstown bought a factory from GM. GM invested in them heavily, the Lordstown, Ohio factory. And then the buyer was Workhorse Group. He started Lordstown, was going to make this truck called the Endurance, which has this kind of 1980s RoboCop vibe. But this was using the Alafe hub motors, and they were going to make this a really cool truck. And this was announced before there were any electric trucks on the market. And there was a lot of excitement over it, but they've had problem after problem, and they were running out of money until late 2022 when Foxconn bought their factory from them for $230 million and pledged $170 million, investing in the company to give themselves 20% of the company. However, what's happened recently is because of this decline in the stock price, they've been trading for under $1 a share since March. If you stay under $1 a share, NASDAQ will delist you. And so they have about, I think, 90 to 180 days to get their share price over $1, or NASDAQ will delist them. Because NASDAQ is delisting them, Foxconn is saying, hey, wasn't our part of our deal for you to get delisted. So Foxconn says, they're not going to invest any more money into them. Foxconn gave them $50 million when the contract was first signed back in late 2022. And Lordstown is running out of money, and they need more money to stay in business. But Foxconn is saying that they're not going to invest more into a dying company. And I don't disagree with them, actually. If you look at what Lordstown's have been having problems with, they've only delivered about 40 trucks so far in the entire history of the company. And then you remember in late February, they had to recall all of them because they had a problem where they were just losing power while driving. Very similar to the whole Electromechanica Solo thing. And so they had to recall all of them. And then Lordstown also said that so this truck is being sold for $65,000. There's only one version of the truck. They're only doing fleet sales. They're not selling to retail customers, and it's $65,000. Even at that price, they are losing money on every vehicle. And so they were halting production because they were just losing money with every vehicle, and they don't have any money to begin with. And it's hard to say that why would a fleet manager buy this vehicle from an unknown company when you can get the base model Ford F-150 Lightning, which has better fuel economy? So that's I think the Ford F-150 is about 76 mpge instead of 48. It has better estimated range at 230 miles rather than 174 miles. It's cheaper at 61,000 than 65,000, and it's from a well-known established manufacturer, Ford Motor Company, rather than an unknown new car company that's been riddled with problems from the very beginning. So I don't see this having a viable market. Soon GMC is going to come out with an electric truck, and so is Chevy. The electric Silverado will come out. The Rivian is arguably a better truck. It is more by about $10,000. I think the Rivian starts at $74,000. But I just don't see a market for this when you just compare to the Ford F-150 Lightning. If you're a fleet manager, fleet managers are very risk adverse, and you want to go with an established company. And so I don't know why you would go with Lordstown over a Ford F-150 Lightning. I think Foxconn sees this and is just trying to back out of the deal. And so I think there's going to be some lawsuits coming up over this. Lordstown is going to sue Foxconn for for backing out of the deal, and Foxconn's going to sue Lordstown by saying that they did not perform their end of the deal by manufacturing a car that's viable and getting their stock price, in a range that keeps them listed on the Nasdaq. So Foxconn, has been trying to move into EVs. Remember, they started this Mobility and Harmony consortium. Alafe, Lordstown, um, Aptera are all members of this Mobility and Harmony consortium. It's a way of kind of sharing like technology and sharing know-how and sharing components and having kind of like a platform. That was the whole idea behind it. I think Foxconn is still very much invested in this, and they are doing well in the component manufacturing, but they're having kind of a hard time actually building cars. They've only built a few prototypes, and they've built about 40 or 50 Lordstown endurance trucks, and that's the whole extent of their experience in building EVs at this point. So they are a large company. They make hardware for Apple. That's their best known customer. They make lots of iPhones and iPads, but they also make hardware for Google, Microsoft, Sony, bunch of other companies. So they have a very well known track record, and they're a huge company with billions and billions of dollars. So they can definitely weather some downturns. But it turns out manufacturing cars is harder than manufacturing electronics, even though cars are kind of becoming big mobile electronics units. But they are learning that it's harder. They bought that Foxconn factory from Lordstown, and they have currently a manufacturing contract with Monarch Tractors. They're making these electric tractors, so that's definitely happening. They are in talks with Fisker to manufacture the pair, but that hasn't been inked out, and they have not come to an agreement on this. And they are supposed to be building this Indy EV, which is this EV that's by a startup in Los Angeles. However, that looks like it's up in the air because this company only has about $200,000 in the bank, and they are likely to go under. So I don't think that they're going to be making a vehicle either. So Foxconn is not having much luck. And of course, Foxconn's biggest partner in this whole manufacturing thing was Lordstown, and they were going to build this endurance, and then they were going to build another vehicle jointly, kind of probably based on this MIH platform. But it looks like Lordstown is probably going to go bankrupt. I think that Foxconn has figured out that this is a sinking ship, and they would rather not dump more money into a sinking ship. And I can kind of see where they're coming from because, again, why would a fleet manager buy this truck over its competition? It doesn't have a cost advantage, it doesn't have a reliability advantage, it doesn't have a range advantage, it doesn't have an efficiency advantage. So there's essentially no advantage to it. So I just don't see that happening, and Foxconn, I think, realizes that is backing out of it. So they're gonna have to. I think their best chance of becoming a contract manufacturer is gonna be partnering with Fisker. Fisker, they were doing well. Their Ocean went into production as scheduled in fall of 2022, but I have not heard that they've delivered a single vehicle to a customer. So, and it's been 5 or 6 months since they supposedly started manufacturing. So I don't know what the issue there is. The first customers are going to be in Europe, but they are trying to get that over to the United States. But anyway, this may be their best shot, or maybe Foxconn is going to decide to go on their own, design their own vehicle, and just build it themselves. They do have the money to do that if they want to try that, or they may change strategy and just become a component manufacturer. They are already manufacturing a lot of components for electric cars. But anyways, the big news here is that I think this was just announced today at 6 a.m. Lordstown and Foxconn are having basically a breakup. And without Foxconn's financial backing, Lordstown is pretty much doomed. I don't see anyone else bailing them out. GM already divested themselves of Lordstown a year or two ago. All right, well, that's kind of sad. This was going to be probably these were the first commercial vehicles, those 40 vehicles that were sold with Alafe motors. And I was hoping that they would get out there and we could just see kind of the reliability of the Alafe motors in the real world. I mean, Alafe has done a very good job of testing them, so I don't have too much concern about that. But it would be nice to get more more real world data on that. The flip side of it is, now that Lordstown is out of the picture, Elafe's production capacity can go completely to Aptera. And Aptera, as far as I know, is their other major customer. They probably have some others that they're not disclosing, but their production capacity now, it's pretty clear that Aptera's production capacity will not be limited by Elafe, as Elafe can dedicate all their resources to Aptera now. All right, well, tell me what you guys think. Do you think that Lordstown is going to somehow make it? Are they going to pull a rabbit out of a hat and make it? Or do you see it the way I see it, that there's really no market for this vehicle anymore? I think if this thing was, undercutting them in price, maybe it was like 45,000 or something like that, I could see it becoming a viable product. But costing more and delivering less, it's not going to do it. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.